Great sounds, great afternoon, and it's a very, very beautiful afternoon. And we're doing this each and every Sunday. We're hosting different candidates, presidential candidates. We're going to be taking part in the presidential election that's taking place in Zimbabwe on the 23rd of August. And today, I'm joined in by Elizabeth Valerio. Elizabeth, it's a good afternoon. Welcome to Galaxy Radio.
Good afternoon. So good to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, great. It's fantastic. So to start off our interview, Elizabeth, we want to first understand, who is Elizabeth?
Yeah, I know a lot of Zimbabweans are asking that question. Some think I'm new to the political scene, but I'm a politician, a political candidate for the presidency this year. I've now been in politics for exactly 2 years. I think our political party celebrated 2 years since its formation just this past May. But I'm a businesswoman, a scientist. I'm a biochemist. I was educated and spent a few years actually working on scientific research. I'm an inventor. I've worked in the biotechnology industry and have a patent to my name. But more importantly, especially this year, I am focusing on a campaign as leader of the United Zimbabwe Alliance, or some call us UZA. It's a political party that's aimed at uniting Zimbabweans and building a prosperous nation. We want a very different future for our country. We want a sustainable future for our future generations. We want to restore Zimbabwe's greatness.
Okay, so that's about Elizabeth. So once again, what's your party's name?
It's called the United Zimbabwe Alliance, UZA.
And when was it launched, and when did you guys start up this party?
Sure. So this is our party symbol, by the way, basically bringing together Zimbabweans as one people. We were launched in 2021 on the 29th of May. A group of 30 strangers, people who didn't even know each other, came together really to talk about issues that were affecting Zimbabwe. And at that event, we essentially made a decision to form a new government. We officially launched the party. We had a launch event in March 2022. But we're an alliance of very progressive citizens. We all have a common vision. We want to transform Zimbabwe and create a very democratic and inclusive nation for our citizens.
Okay. Why did you start up this political party? Why the political party?
Yeah. Well, for me, it was out of a great concern for our nation. I live in Hwange, very close to Hwange National Park. And at the time, I was actually working to try to bring attention to pieces of land that were being invaded, is the way I'm going to present it. They were being exploited, and they were being potentially targeted for foreign interests. And so I started really a community drive to try to protect our conservation areas. I live very close to the national park, so part of the work that I do is also wildlife conservation. And so we had been fighting to protect Hwange National Park, to keep coal mining interests out of the park. But then I became painfully aware that we had many parts of Zimbabwe that were being targeted or identified for exploitation by coal miners coming from other countries. And some of these areas were going to affect ancestral burial sites, and they are causing displacement of citizens. And this became a big cause of concern for me. But when I tried to call action and attention to this is this group of individuals that I brought together in Hwange. We sat around a table for 2 days and deliberated on how to protect Zimbabwe's land, how to protect and prioritize Zimbabweans and beneficiaries. And it became this bigger discussion about many other issues. That's when we formed the United Zimbabwe Alliance, because we realized that there were many issues that needed to be addressed in Zimbabwe.
Okay. Now, as a woman, and you're vying for presidential candidate, so far, how have you? What has been your challenges? How have you? What's your view on the political climate, as a woman?
Yes, look, I personally wish that people would stop focusing on the fact that I'm a woman and look at me as a candidate, no different from any man who's also contesting in this upcoming election and intends to change Zimbabwe. But the political climate in Zimbabwe, truthfully, is challenging for anyone who wants to contest or who wants to bring a positive change to politics in Zimbabwe. So as a woman, I face the obvious stereotypes, people trying to undermine my credibility. Can a woman lead? Is a woman able to lead the army, for example, is the type of question I get asked all the time. But these questions, these perceptions don't deter me. I don't view them as obstacles. I just feel like we need to educate society. We need to really change the stereotypes that we have around women. I believe that women have a very important role to play. We are the majority of society, and we need to be represented in leadership. We need to be part of shaping the future of our country. And I'm inspired and so courageous because of the people, the women who have gone ahead of me and who have fought for equality for us as women. So there are challenges indeed, but I'm willing and ready to overcome them as well.
All right, great. So as UZA, are you guys going to field candidates all around the country in all the constituencies, both in parliament and council?
Most definitely, we intend to field candidates in most constituencies. I will say that ZEC, the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, is not making it an easy process for us. As you know, there are outrageously exorbitant prices or nomination fees that have been put in place. And we are working to try to encourage as many candidates to participate, women in particular. But we are determined, and we will be having strong leadership, diverse leadership, qualified candidates who are committed to building Zimbabwe. These are individuals from a range of different types of backgrounds, people who have different skills that they will bring to Zimbabwe's new government. And they will be parliamentarians, councillors. We believe that UZA represents essentially the aspirations of Zimbabweans. We want to make sure we reflect the interests of every Zimbabwean, regardless of where they come from within our country.
But so far, have you managed to get all candidates for all the constituencies, or you're still in your candidate selection?
We have been going through our candidate election process. We're very close to finalizing the candidates that have been vetted and have cleared the election process. There is a link on our website, unitedzimbabwe.org. If you click on the elections link, there is actually a list of all our candidates thus far, and the list is growing daily. But yes, we have quite a number of the constituencies already covered. In the last days here, we are working to finalize the ones that are remaining. But we hope to build a new government, and for that we need a majority in government after this election.
Okay. How has been your campaign going so far, and how have been people receiving you guys when you get out there into the community?
It's going very well. I'm very optimistic. We're being received by, communities. I've traveled to almost all the constituencies across Zimbabwe, and people are hungry for change. People are so tired of the false promises. They're tired of corruption. They're tired of the mismanagement of our resources. When you look at the state of our economy today, people want something very, very different. And so we're looking forward to bringing a new direction to Zimbabwe and to bringing new leadership to Zimbabwe. People want leaders who are going to deliver. I think for the first time, citizens are saying we've been promised so many things for so many years. Since 1980, people have waited. So we are offering Zimbabwe an alternative government. We're also engaging citizens nationwide and in the diaspora and trying to come together to work on goals and plan for the future of Zimbabwe. We are very focused on citizens engagement. So campaigning is a very big part of what we are, we're spending our time on.
What are some of the challenges that you faced? Maybe it could be when you want to get out there to do campaign, have you faced anything like issues of police clearance or violence, or have you faced any challenge thus far?
Yes, it's no secret that it's difficult to campaign and to be an opposition party in Zimbabwe. We faced the obvious challenges of not getting police clearances. We have had instances where we've been disturbed or disrupted when we've had events. where we've shown up at facilities that we've actually rented, and we've got the police clearance in place, but then we're told by a group of individuals who are already there that no, you can't come in. We've seen all sorts of things. So rallies have been disrupted, but most recently, the most painful reality was the facing of violence. A group of our members were actually attacked. They were abducted, taken in the vehicle, and they were attacked by the members of the ruling party. These were people who actually have identified. We've notified the police, but there's been no accountability for their actions. There are some who are using these tactics to try to intimidate us as opposition. But we're not going to be silenced. We're not going to be intimidated. We are going to continue to do the work that we are doing. We're not going to be deterred because we have the constitutional right. It's our right to participate in this election. And we want to make sure that we're reaching citizens and voters across the country. The only way we can do that is if we are actively out there. And so we're very thankful for media platforms like yours that give us exposure and help us safely to continue to engage citizens even beyond the in-person activities that we are doing across the country.
There's always a saying that says, if you can't do it from within, you jump over. So that's what we're doing with you guys, giving you the platform to talk to Zimbabweans, to reach out to Zimbabweans in Zimbabwe, in the diaspora. And so just to make a follow-up on that one, how have the chiefs been receiving you in different constituencies you've got? Because I've heard people also have challenged with the chiefs. How have the chiefs been receiving you guys when you get out there into different communities?
I was raised to respect our traditional culture and to, really respect our community leaders. So in areas where we have gone and we need to engage community members, where we know that they are leaders such as traditional leaders, we do our very best to make sure that they know who we are and to follow the protocols.
But how have they been receiving you guys? Because the issue is about you can go there and let them know who you are, but are they allowing you guys to get into their areas, and meet the people and sell your manifesto to the people? How have they been receiving you guys?
I found the chiefs have not obstructed us. I, again, don't like the idea of politicizing our traditional leaders. So we try not to involve them in politics. But certainly we've been very well received in communities where we've gone. We've not had any major issues. Had one or two chiefs who've been terrified, knowing that we are entering an area and have said, for us, it's dangerous to even allow you to come. I'll say that. We've had some of those types of comments, but none of the chiefs have been, in any way negative or have caused us any challenges.
How has been the media giving you guys media coverage in terms of the local media, both radio, television, and newspaper? How's it been giving you guys media coverage? Have you found it challenging, or has it been engaging with the media?
I'm happy to say that for the most part, the unconventional media platforms have been very well, they've received us well. They've given us a lot of opportunity. We're constantly receiving requests for interviews. And so I'm very thankful for what we've received from online media platforms and other types of platforms. They're allowing us to showcase our manifesto. But I find that state media is not as engaging, and we've been given very limited space on state media. I really look forward to the day when Zimbabwe has a fully free and fair state media platform or outlets for everybody to be able to share their political endeavors, rather than just narrowing the narrative to just a few, and particularly the ruling party.
Okay. Would you mind to share if you've got any radio stations which have given you guys a platform?
So I know that I've done a couple of smaller radio stations. I know there's a radio station in Gweru that recently gave us a radio interview. I also have been on Star FM, and we recently gotten a few other inquiries. So we've received a few, like I said, I think that we've been given some platforms, and for the most part, it's been the online platforms that have been really, really supportive.
Okay. So if you lose the election, as a presidential candidate? What's next?
I don't like to, I'm one person who likes to focus on achieving
the positives.
Yeah. But really, I'll accept the outcome if I do lose. I won't in any way, if it reflects the views of the people and it's what the people of Zimbabwe want, I will respect and congratulate the winner or whoever becomes president of Zimbabwe. And I'll offer my cooperation, certainly, in trying to ensure that we have national unity, that we have development and progress. I'll, of course, continue to serve as an opposition leader and serve our nation, carrying out my duties as president of the United Zimbabwe Alliance. I will continue to give voice and hold the government accountable for the work that they are supposed to do. And of course, beyond UZA, beyond the work that we do directly in politics, there's a lot that we're already doing, and I'll continue to do as president. I will make sure that I continue conservation work. Very important to me. Entrepreneurialism is something that we are very focused on as a political party. We're establishing 30 companies. And so there's a lot of work to be done around that as well, making sure these companies become fully fledged organizations. Plus, I'm very involved in education, particularly in STEM education.
All right. What's your take on coalitions? Has any other political party of the opposition approach you guys to say, let's do a coalition, an alliance? What's your take? How would you view it?
We've had a number of opposition parties approach us already, and quite honestly, we're open and willing to speak to everybody, but we have to be very careful because our political party has a very specific ideology. We have our own view of what we want to do and deliver, and it's all based on what the citizens have asked us to work on and to focus on. So if you look at other political parties that have, essentially come together as forced coalitions, oftentimes you'll find that they have, distorted or splintering views. And we want to ensure that we're paving the way for genuine unity within Zimbabwe. I would say that already, as UZA, we've demonstrated our capacity to work with other opposition parties. In fact, there are a few parties that have joined us and fully, integrated themselves into UZA. One political party, the Zimbabwe People's Action Party, ZIPAP, recently decided to bring all of its structures into our organization, and they are now part of UZA. Their leadership is part of UZA. Their MP candidates are contesting under the UZA banner. So we're forming, maybe not coalitions, but we have these memorandums of understanding that we are shaping, but we're very cautiously engaging in conversations about how we can work together with other political parties. We need to strengthen ourselves, of course, ahead of the elections.
There's a group of citizens in Zimbabwe that are normally forgotten, and they're all seen as second-class citizens. And these are persons with disabilities. How has been UZA engaging persons with disabilities in terms of putting them into structures, also putting them as candidates, to campaign in different constituencies? How has UZA done in terms of engaging persons with disabilities?
I would say that every citizen for us is important. Persons with disabilities are equally important to every other citizen when we view our mandate as a political party. We do have citizens with disabilities in our structures at some of the highest levels of our organization. We also, as a political party, have staff within our secretariat as well as candidates who have disabilities. It's really important for us to uphold the Constitution of Zimbabwe, which speaks very clearly about the mandate to provide opportunities to serve and support citizens with disabilities. And so as UZA, we take that very seriously. But even more central to that, our commitment is to ensure every citizen is given equal opportunity to thrive, equal opportunity to participate in society.
So in short, you're saying as UZA, you guys have got actually candidates with disabilities who are going to be also campaigning?
Yes, we do. Indeed, we do.
Okay, super. Then, as a woman, again, we're back to this issue of gender. As a woman, there's this issue of culture. where a woman is expected to be doing all the household chores, they expect to do this, they expect to do this, and at the same time, you want to also campaign as a presidential candidate, and everything becomes so much, for you to handle. How have been people around you being supportive of you, from your family, your friends, your neighbors, and everything? How have people been, being supportive of you to do that?
Yes, I think for me, family, friends, anyone who knows me personally will understand the fact that I've accepted this mandate, this role to lead a political party. They are expecting already, as a woman who's always led in every organization that I've been part of. But I think, as women, yes, we have this challenge where we are expected culturally to serve, in particular within the household, and carry out certain duties. So I try to find a balance. I have an incredible husband who's very supportive. I don't see him as often as I would like to. I'm on the road quite often, and sometimes 10 weeks will go by and I haven't been home. So he's having to take on a lot of the responsibilities that I otherwise would have within our household. But I think, for women just in general, we mustn't be afraid or inhibited when we have these ambitions to lead. And I want to encourage all women to essentially embrace that. If you have leadership within you, and I believe even leadership can be cultivated or developed, we need to encourage women to pursue their dreams and to have the confidence to do that. I think women, we need to support each other in carrying out these duties. And so when you find that maybe one of us is having challenges, we can support the other in making sure that those who want to lead are able to do the work. As family and friends, we need people around us. I think someone told me a very long time ago that a lot of your success is reflected on who you surround yourself with. And so as women, we need that support system that allows us to do the things we want to do effectively. And that sometimes means if I'm not able to cook dinner, if I'm not able to make sure my husband has his laundry done, let's find a way to make sure those duties still are carried out. But more than anything, I work so hard to ensure I still have a balance. We mustn't sacrifice our families in the process. Sometimes you feel like you almost have to, but we have to still try to keep that rich family value. And I don't think women need to become masculine in order to be effective and successful as leaders. I think we can still maintain our cultural role and our, the mentorship of younger women, all those types of things. We can still do it, but we have to just work as a society to support each other, claim our space, work together to raise our collective voices.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a big one for me.
Okay. So if you do win the presidential election, what are the top 3 things that you'd say I'll prioritize to fix A, B, and C? What are those 3 things that you'd want to fix?
Oh, that's so difficult. How can you give me just 3?
Yeah, just 3. Let's start with 3. If we give you 10, you won't be able. You'll be like, the time was too short.
Yeah, there's so many things we need to fix in our country. I think more than anything, I would love to see Zimbabwe restore its accountability. And that means restoring our rule of law, the separation of powers, making sure that we have a genuinely citizens-focused, legal system that allows separation of politics and the law. I would say also I want to ensure that for Zimbabwe, we are able to restore our dignity as a people. We have been looked down upon. People around the world think we are a poor and shameful nation, that we are corrupt, that we are, unable to deliver. The most basic things for our citizens. I want to see that change. And as president, I'd like to see Zimbabweans holding their heads up. Look, we're building companies all over the world. We're leading organizations all over the world. Why can't we do it for our own country? So I want to see that dignity restored. I want Zimbabwe to be back as a leading nation. I want people to look at our nation as a role model, particularly in Africa. We should be that country that sets the bar high for every other African nation. And what happens in Zimbabwe should trickle to other nations as well. And then I think more importantly, of course, I want to see us protect the resources that belong to our children, our future generations. Land that belongs to us, to our children, must remain Zimbabwean land. It must not be exploited for the benefit and the wealth of other nations. It's happened for too many years, too many centuries have passed where African people are not benefiting from our own resources. We're wealthy as a nation. So I want to see that reclaiming of Zimbabwe for Zimbabweans. I know that we can do it, but we need to work on it together.
Okay. So Elizabeth, as we're going to end, I'm going to give you this time. I'm going to give you almost about 2-3 minutes. You understand? I want you to talk to Zimbabweans, to tell them your manifesto. What are you promising Zimbabweans, as a presidential candidate? And yeah, just talk to all the Zimbabweans. So I'm giving you this opportunity, at least about 3 minutes, just to sell yourself and tell Zimbabweans what you're offering them.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Look, I know Zimbabwe, we have so many conflicting voices in politics today. I'm a new face. A lot of people don't know me. And I am working so hard to make sure that every Zimbabwean knows the United Zimbabwe Alliance, knows what we stand for. I invite you to please do your work, do your research. This year, 2023, is the year that we could change Zimbabwe. We could build a completely new government for our country, for our children, for ourselves. And I think that when I become president, you will be able to realize that what Zimbabwe was supposed to have many years ago is possible. So I think as we look to the future, a lot of Zimbabweans think that there are only two political parties in Zimbabwe that can come with a solution or an answer. In a democracy, everyone should be given the right to choose. In a democracy, everyone should be given the right and the opportunity to stand and to represent you. I've been chosen and called by the citizens of Zimbabwe to serve as your next president, as president of a new political party that's building a new government. We always say that we are going to be the first government that has already done work even before we are in office, and we are doing that in earnest. Already we are building communities. We've got projects across Zimbabwe. We have teams throughout this nation that are working to reach every citizen. We bring new leadership that will listen to your views. Everything that we have in our manifesto was based on what I have learned from hearing from the citizens directly. For 24 months, we have traveled across this nation. You've told us what you want, and we have documented that, and that is in our party manifesto. You can see it on our website, unitedzimbabwe.org. We have a manifesto link that you can view, and you can please review and share your views about what you see there. We will respect the rights of every citizen. We are committed to making sure that we serve your interests, providing a transparent and progressive government for the first time in Zimbabwe, one that you can hold accountable. We want a parliament that actually goes to the citizens and asks what it is that they're supposed to bring to the parliamentary floor. These are legislators. They're not people who should be in business for themselves, building their own wealth. They should be representing our citizens. Some of the priorities, just really quickly, I know my 3 minutes is running out here. We want to make sure that we revive this economy. It's no secret that Zimbabweans are struggling. Most civil servants are not even making a living wage. Our teachers have left the country. We have no doctors. We have no nurses left in our hospitals and our clinics. So we want to make sure we revive this economy, create viable jobs, good paying jobs, so that citizens can come back to Zimbabwe. We want a good life for every citizen. We will end corruption. We will make sure that we have a world-class environment. I'm a biochemist, a scientist. I know what it's like to innovate. And we want to make sure that we leverage the knowledge and experience and expertise of all our Zimbabweans. I believe in advancement, and I want you to work with us to advance our nation. I could keep going. I think time has run out.
No.
Please don't. The important thing is, please don't forget to vote. Tell every citizen who is on the ground in Zimbabwe to show up, to turn up, to defend the votes this election.
Okay, Elizabeth, something just got me a bit curious, and probably you might clarify this for me. When I was reading through your website, you said your mom said to you, "Please look after the presidential elephants." And
yes,
I just asked myself, presidential elephants, Would you clarify or explain that to me? What are those?
Yeah, so there is a herd of elephants that lives on the land that that is my home now in Hwange. And it sometimes it's your destiny. You're just called to serve in a certain way. And this herd of elephants is what brought me back to Zimbabwe. My mom asked me to take care of 600 elephants. These elephants, there's a presidential decree that was brought forward by Mugabe. And this decree was that these elephants were never to be shot. They were never to be hunted. They live on the land that I own. And these elephants, essentially, the reason they were protected by a presidential decree is because they are so tame. They come up to your vehicle. They literally... I've had moments where they've been within 20 centimeters of me. I could reach out and touch them if I wanted to. I do believe that wildlife is wild. So we have provided and built a safe space where they can be protected. But that was the call that I got from my mom on her deathbed, to look after the elephants, the presidential herd of Zimbabwe. It doesn't make me in any way affiliated with Robert Mugabe or the ZANU-PF government, who I'm working very hard to displace. That was my calling. It was my destiny, and it's what has brought me back. I've lived with them for 10 years in Hwange.
Okay, Elizabeth, Valeria, thank you very much. All what we can say is we can wish you all the best, and hope to come and have an interview with you when you're in the State House, when you get to win.
Thank you very much. I look forward to that day, and really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's we're Galaxy Radio, and we definitely shine with the stars. And what we're going to do, we're going to keep giving you more great music on your top station.